I'm going to show you some common errors that I've found that people make on their concept maps that will cause you to lose some points. So hopefully you can follow this, and then I'll show you a good example so you can check your own work before you submit it. So a big mistake people make right away is these question marks pop up as linking words if you forget to add linking words. So you must have linking words between all of your concepts. So leaving this as question marks would have you lose some points. Another common mistake here, if I had co-teaching at the top and I wanted to show the 6 models, if I just strung them all together in one linear fashion, and I just added words "and" between everything, so I just listed all the different types of co-teaching models, this is an inaccurate relationship because these are not hierarchical. They are all different types. So you'll see on my good example that each one of these should have its own branch coming off of the 6 models because they're each 6 different types. They're not related to each other in any kind of linear fashion. Something else to consider is that your concepts themselves should mostly be nouns. They might have an adjective or two before them, but they shouldn't be long like a sentence. So here's an example of station teaching, where each teacher leads different activities and students rotate between them. This concept has way too much information in there. There should be multiple branches coming off of station teaching to stay true to a concept map style. Something else to consider is that your linking word should be very specific. So the word involves, I would call that a very vague and not a robust term. So we want specific terms. Perhaps you'll see in my other example the term that I chose. Another thing to consider is don't forget that you need arrows. This example here, a special education teacher writes the IEP. There's no arrow, so I don't know if it's IEP writes special education teacher. The arrows tell us the direction of the relationship. And if it's both directions, then you would put an arrow on both ends. Here's another example of a very non-specific linking word, is, and then a big long concept bubble rather than something split up. And one last thing I have on here that's a common error is just in inaccuracy. This one says special education teacher is responsible for students with disabilities, and the general education teacher is responsible for general education students. In the co-teaching model, they are both responsible for both groups of students. So this would be an inaccuracy in your links. So now let's look at all of this that's done in a better way. Okay. Something else I forgot to point out over here is that notice how I didn't use different formatting. All the background, the font's the same color, the backgrounds are all the same color. It's hard to tell which were the terms that I had given you in the parking lot and which terms you added yourself. So if you look on this map, I've changed the bubbles to kind of show levels. I've also bolded and had a certain color for, I'm assuming these are my 3 parking lot terms. So now I have much more specific linking terms. So I have requires collaboration between instead of involves. Okay. I also have the correct link here are both responsible for the education of both groups. I said is the expert in. That's much more specific than is. And then station teaching before, if you remember, I had a big long blurb. Here, instead, what I had is 3 different links. I said it's also known as centers. And they include an independent workstation, and students rotate between the different activities. So I took all that information in one long concept and split it up. And then now I have the correct hierarchy, non-hierarchy, I should say, between the 6 models. They're all coming off with their own branch. And if this were going to be a complete map, I would say that each one of these types I should have some information about here. Otherwise, I don't know that you know what One Teach, One Observe is if you give me no information off of it. So I hope you can see the difference. Take a moment to look at this and in comparison to this one. The common mistakes, again, make sure you have linking words. Don't put them in linear fashion. We don't want long blurbs here. And we want specific terms and accurate connections between things. So you can use your textbook to look for the relationships. Any word that I give you is going to be right in your text. After all, the purpose of this assignment is to show me that you read and understood the readings for the week.